What's up, everyone? DKRACK here. So hey, what's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to be doing another reaction to the channel Your Maker. And this video is True Scary Stories viewer submission. With Halloween coming up just in a couple weeks, I'm trying to crank out these scary reactions. So I hope you guys are enjoying these reaction videos that I'm doing. But again, this channel is Your Maker. True Scary Stories viewer submission. Link to original video will be down below in the description. Well, let's go ahead and check it out, not waste any more time. True Scary Stories viewer submission by the channel Your Maker. Here we go.
The following are true scary stories submitted to me by you guys. I finally got a video ready of my viewer submissions that I've been receiving. I hope you enjoy these, and if you do, make sure to leave a like,
creepy YouTube music.
Subscribe for more. I'll have a link to everyone's channel in the description below. And let's begin. This submission was received from DontBrahal. The scariest moment in my life happened just a few weeks back at my workplace, Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen.
Let me start off the story by telling you that I'm 17 years old. I'm a hockey player. I'm 5'11" and around 200 pounds. It was a normal Monday night, slow and boring. The store closes every night at 10 p.m., so once it was around 9, I started to close. On my way to take out the trash, I had the feeling that I was being watched. I shrugged it off, seeing that my Dairy Queen was located in town. There may have just been someone walking home. My experiences on the way back were even worse. The only door to get in the store was in the very back. This was a walk-up, not a walk-in. So needless to say, it was dark. I make my way down the dark alley, using my phone's flashlight to guide the way. I couldn't help but notice that something was not right.
Oh, God.
I did not see him until I rounded the final corner to get to the door. A small homeless man was sitting in a ball crying. "Hey man, are you alright?" I said in a voice trying to sound helpful. He grumbled at me, so I didn't understand all of it.
Why was he crying?
The message I could understand was, "Rather be at your house." I stepped around him, ready to fight if it came to it.
Rather be at your house?
But the older man didn't make a move at me. The rest of the night was fairly normal. I closed up and drove home. I parked my car in the driveway, got out and started to walk inside of my house when I heard one of my car doors open. A figure got out and ran. I went to run after him, but I thought it was more important to make sure that my house was completely secure so that whoever just got out of my car couldn't get inside of my house.
Someone was in his car.
Went inside, and locked all of the doors and windows. The rest of the night was great. I had the entire house to myself because my parents went to celebrate their anniversary. I Skyped with my girlfriend until she fell asleep, and decided it was probably time for me to get some sleep. After I used the bathroom and finally decided to get some rest, I went over to lower my blinds. I don't know why, it just freaks me out to have them open while I sleep. As I got up to lower them,
I don't like my blinds open either.
I couldn't really see what they were doing, but I could definitely tell that they were there. I lowered the blinds a bit so that whoever was out there would have a more difficult time seeing me, but I was still looking through the small crack that I had left. From where he was, he looked like he was hiding behind something, maybe trying to hide himself. I was dying to get a better look. My curiosity was getting the better of me. I quietly went downstairs and over to the garage. I flicked one of the switches in the garage. That signaled the floodlight outside of my window to turn on. I quickly ran up to my room, hoping that the man was still there. I lifted up my blinds to the level that I had them before. And what I saw still sent shivers down my spine. The homeless man that I saw earlier was standing in the middle of my driveway, looking directly at me.
What the hell?
I shut the blinds as fast as I could.
No.
Luckily, my parents had left a landline in my room just in case my phone died and I needed to call them.
That's creepy.
I picked up the phone and went to dial, but noticed there was no dial tone. It was almost as if someone was on the other line. "Hello?" I asked. The only sound that I heard was breathing. I occasionally heard the breakup in his breathing pattern, indicating that he was moving around, not standing still. I am now realizing that I needed some sort of phone. I dug through my bag that I had brought to work for my phone. I pulled my phone out of my bag, and I immediately started dialing 911.
Yeah, you better call the police.
The operator asked me where I was. I gave her my address, and she told me to stay in my room and try to find a way to defend myself. I picked up the baseball bat that was hanging over my bed, signed by Derek Jeter. Not an ideal source of protection, but I wasn't going to take any chances. I had the landline on speaker just so I could hear any noises. The sounds I heard started to change. I heard the whistling of air as if someone was blowing into the phone.
What?
The sound happened about 4 times for 30
Someone was blowing into the phone? What? Oh, hell no.
seconds each. Now where to go? The voice made me half jump. I could feel the color draining from my face. I started to think I was going to die. Once I got the bad thoughts out of my head, I started to think about strategical ways I could take someone down. My door handle began to wiggle. I knew my handle wouldn't be able to handle much pressure, seeing as though it was a piece of shit from Home Depot. Fine, be that way. I was confused at the words I heard on the other line. I didn't have much time to be confused because I started to hear the sounds of police sirens in the distance. Still aiming my bat at the door, I heard the police coming from behind me, that being where my window was, and heard them pull in. They got out rather fast and started to scream, "Get down! Get down!" I turned around to look out my window, and all I saw was the small homeless man sitting on the small piece of roof directly outside of my window, with a large knife in his hand.
He's on the freaking roof?
The cops were able to get him down without hurting anyone. I still had not left my room. I opened the window to talk to them. "It's okay, son. You can come down now. We got the guy in custody." No. I couldn't seem to make a sentence because of the terror I was going through. There was a man in my house too. I need you guys to come look at my house. The 3 cops standing there all agreed, probably because this was the most action they'd had gotten in a while. "We are going to enter through the garage door," they said in a militaristic way.
Is there
"Stay where you are and keep that door locked."
Is there a second person there?
I was really freaked out now. I repositioned myself at the door, and I could hear the officers clearing rooms. They finally got to the 2nd floor, the floor I was on, and it didn't take long for me to hear them screaming, "Get down! Get the fuck on the ground!" After I heard some clanking, presumably from the cops' handcuffs,
there was a second person.
One of the cops told me through the door that it was okay to come out now. I opened up my door to see the other 2 cops escorting another man down the stairs.
What?
The other cop greeted me. "You got very lucky tonight, son. Good thing you called. That man over there was parked right outside your door with a knife, waiting for you." I immediately started to hyperventilate.
Who was it, though?
The cop called my parents, and they caught the fastest flight home that they could. I've been kinda uneasy being home ever since. But my parents set up cameras all outside the house, so now if anyone's out there, I will know. Looking back on the situation, the homeless man must have gotten into my car and told his friend where I lived, and they were gonna rob me.
Wow. That's messed up. That's messed up.
This submission was received from TDCYolo. I lived in a peaceful community. There wasn't any violence or any worries. Being from Canada, you normally wouldn't expect any sort of crimes. This incident occurred almost 3 years ago now. I used to live in Mississauga, and where I lived there was an abundance of forests and parks. I had lived in the city for 5 years, and I felt very confident at the time, and quite frankly, my parents were the chill type. It was the winter, and it was depressing to stay at home, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have a lot of friends, and the friends I did have were all moody assholes. There weren't a lot of things to do in my area, and it was always boring. We did have a lot of parks around our apartment, so my friends and I would always go outside and play, and we didn't even mind the snow. In fact, we even thought it made it more fun. The day prior to the incident, my best friend Brandon, who didn't live too far from me, and was the only one of my friends who wasn't a moody asshole, decided to go out and have some fun. We went out and did parkour and had snow fights and explored the city. It was getting late, and Brandon and I were at the park opposite of my building. There was also another park about a 10-minute walk away, but there wasn't near the variety. Now, if you live in Canada, you know how cold it is there, and if you don't have gloves or the proper clothing, you are not going to have a good time.
I don't live in Canada, but where I live, it gets freaking cold.
We were in the park playing and doing all the other stupid shit you'd imagine 13-year-olds be doing. It was 8, and knowing my friend Brandon had rather strict parents and a curfew of 8 p.m., and I didn't want to be alone, I decided to walk back with him. We neared our destinations, and I went up towards my apartment, and Brandon split off and went towards his place. After about 10 minutes, I realized I didn't bring my gloves back, so I got on Facebook and messaged Brandon to see if he had my gloves. When he replied, he told me he didn't have them, so I known I must have left him at the park and accepted my losses and carried on. The next morning, it was at least -15, and I was awoken to my mother yelling at me about my gloves. It wasn't the fact of the money, it was the irresponsibility. I told her I'd given them to Brandon. It was Saturday, about 5 p.m., and I was really bored, and sadly all of my friends were busy, and I didn't want to stay at home. So around 8 p.m., I hurried up and geared up for the cold, and told my mom I was going to get my gloves from Brandon. As I went outside, clueless what to do, I went to the park. I just went to the swings, rocking back and forth, all bored. Time had passed. It was about 8:30, and I decided it was time to go. As I was about to go, I was seeing two people walk down to the park. There was only one footpath leading to the park, which meant there was only one exit. I didn't really think anything of it at the time. This park was huge, and we were used to seeing drunks and druggies walking through it all the time. No, I'm not a detective.
Sounds like a fun park. They're used to seeing people who are drunk and druggies at the park. Sounds like a safe place to be. I probably wouldn't be at that park.
Someone out of their mind when I see them.
Man.
But this isn't anything new, as we had had many experiences with homeless people, drunks, and druggies around the area. But as they got closer to the playground, they kept staring at me. I didn't have much of an option at this point, so I just decided to walk away from the footpath. As I got closer to them, I saw them go deeper into the bushes. I thought it was weird, but probably just a couple doing their business or something.
Deeper in the bushes?
As I walked farther and got closer to the footpath, I had to get onto it because there was nowhere else to go. At this point, I couldn't see the people, and I didn't know what to think, but there was an alarm going off in my head telling me to get out of there, and that's what I intended on doing. As I got closer, I heard mumbling in the bushes, and noises.
Mumbling?
The sounds of footsteps. That was my cue to get the fuck out of there, and I didn't look back.
Yeah, get out of there.
I just left the park, feeling stupid for causing so much drama. I decided to go to a nearby convenience store, which was only 5 minutes away. As I was walking, I could hear sirens in the background. I got into the store and I bought a Red Bull and a bag of Lay's, which was my favorite treat at the time. The queue was long, so I waited my turn and paid the amount and headed out, looking at the clock. It was around 9 p.m., so I started running down the road quickly, and after what felt like a few minutes, I was near my apartment. I saw there were 3 police cars and a canine dog. I went over and asked him about what happened. He told me there was nothing, and he asked me to leave as they were blocking the exits. I told the cop that I was just in the park, and he didn't believe me and he giggled a little bit. I then reassured him I was in the park, and his face turned to a look of confusion. He finally took my summary, and I told him clearly what happened. He took my address as well. I asked him what had happened, and he explained that they were looking for 2 people suspected for child abduction. At this point, my heart sank.
Kidnapping, no.
I could feel the hair on my body spike up. I still wonder what would have happened to me had I not run.
Wow.
I don't know if they ever got arrested or if they're free right now, but I'm just happy I got out of there.
Let's hope they're in prison.
It still chills me to this day. This was a submission from Corbin, guys. This was my very first submission, and I really appreciate it, Corbin. This story isn't too scary, but back when I was about 6 years old, my family and I were living in a standard town. Houses were all about 6 meters away from each other on every block. It was a pretty safe neighborhood, and we had very nice neighbors. I was playing in the front yard one day, when a guy in a red car pulls up in front of our house. He was wearing some very nice clothing, so I immediately assumed he was on his way to church, even though I had never been to church myself. The guy appeared nice enough, so I stepped to the edge of the lawn to see what he needed. The guy rolls down his window and proceeds to ask me if I know where the church is, reinforcing my thoughts of him going to church. At this time, I'd like to point out that the church was on the corner, sharing the block with my house. From where I was standing, you could see the cars parked in the lot, but not the actual church. However, the man should have seen it from the direction he was coming down the road.
He's a kidnapper.
It's over there, and pointed in the direction the man had just come from. Instead of the man driving off and going to church, he asked me to get into the vehicle and show him the way. I just said
Hell
no.
no.
Being 6 years old, I wasn't worried about the situation
Yeah,
at all.
6 years old?
Not even when he said that.
No.
I wasn't even alarmed as the man shrugged and drove away. Until I noticed he just kept going. He never turned to go to church.
Yeah, he was a...
I hope you enjoyed this video.
He was a kidnapper. My gosh. Well, guys, this was True Scary Stories by the channel Your Maker. Like I said, if you guys keep enjoying these scary reactions, I'll keep doing them. So let me know down below in the comments. Make sure and smash the like button, subscribe to my channel if you're new. And again, this was True Scary Stories by the channel Your Maker. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.